Good morning, Brendan, and thanks so much for joining us today. I wanted to talk to you about the Guelph Neighborhood Support Coalition. You guys spend so much time supporting the different neighborhood groups and in helping them to deliver programs to the people that are unique to their community. How has this COVID-19 pandemic affected what you do?
Well, I think like everyone, it's just trying to adjust to a new normal. We obviously a lot of the spaces and stuff that we do has been stopped. We do a lot of work out of schools. We do a lot of work out of, other community spaces, and all of those have been stopped for obviously great reasons. So we really had to adapt and think about how we can adjust services and how we can make sure we're staying in touch with those folks who need the most support during this time. So, but we have a really cool staff and really adaptable, quirky ways of working. So we're doing okay with that, I think.
And that's key, I think, is the connection piece because you do support so many people in your communities that really rely on your services.
Yeah, and I think the beauty, and not that we ever wanted something like this to happen, but the nature of our work is really, as you said, on the ground, grassroots, building connections and relationships. So they were there, and we really were able to reach out to folks, so they would reach out to us in very trusted ways and say, I need some help, or what can we do, or where do I go? And, we're lucky that way that we've already built all those relationships so we can make sure all the people we love are cared for.
Are there some good news stories to share?
Yeah, there's so many, I guess, just, the resiliency of our staff and our community. For instance, on Willow, they were running out of a townhouse and packing like 70, 80 essential food hampers, and people have knocked on the door to volunteer, not literally, but they've
Yeah.
offered. So it's cool. We've got to work with public health and all of these things, and they've helped us create safe spaces and safe plans. But just the outreach, every time there's 4 or 5 drivers and people putting up their hand. And then, the other side is just hearing from folks who have been isolated for whatever reason, whether they're feeling ill or they just have anxiety disorders or whatever it may be, and that we're able to um, help them, have conversations with them, get them stuff they need. And yeah, it's really nice to know that these folks aren't doing this alone right now. So it's really quite beautiful, the community response.
It's really important to note that, and I got this direct from your website, that 13.2% of people in Guelph suffer some uh, food insecurity. And so one of the big things we wanted to talk today was to share the fact that the North End Harvest Market is still a go. So
Yes.
tell us how it's working now under these conditions.
Yeah. And that was one of those good stories too, that our amazing market manager, Barb McPhee, we were talking about it. And of course, initially it happens out of a portable at Waverley Public School, and it's been running for 5 years. And of course it got shut down. All school spaces got shut down. And then we thought, well, how do we do this? And I spoke to them and she did, and saying, it's an essential service and people rely on it. So Barb was able to work with the health inspector at public health, and they made a social distancing plan. And then we told Upper Grand and said, we've done our homework and this, and they were obviously excited and they love the community and they're able to allow us to reopen. So it used to be that people would come in the market and shop just like it was a regular market. I guess to back up, this is a free fresh food and vegetable market that happens every Wednesday for the last 5 years. So people would come in, and the idea was for them to build social connection, get some food, have lots of choice. But we can't do that. So what we've been doing is packing hampers. And if people want to come and pick up, we have the parking lot set up so people come at every 6 feet, or Barb created a curbside service so people could pull up in a car if they have it. And we've also started to do delivery. So I think half of them lately have been delivery. So people have been in touch that they can't leave or they can't access it. And I think yesterday, something like 150 food hampers went out the door from the North End Harvest Market. So, and as you said, I hope this helps people see the level of kind of food insecurity and crisis in our city. I know that's a big word, but 13.2%. And I think people kind of heard it and thought it, but now you really see it, and you can see how many people were kind of on that precarious edge of sustainability too, because most of our services and other organizations we're talking to have almost close to doubled the calls and stuff that they're being asked of. And we really see that we're on an edge here, and a lot of people are close to that edge. And it's something that I hope as we come out of this, that we can lobby the government to not put a moratorium on the minimum wage hike, or do some more basic income pilots to really talk about why so many people are vulnerable and fragile.
Now, is there anything people need to know in terms of accessing the North End Harvest Market? Are there restrictions as to who can, who can't come? How can people get involved? How can people access it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And when the market was started, that was clearly one of our goals, not to have any kind of means testing. So anybody that reaches out is welcome to come and get food. And really the best way is to get a hold of Barb. And we have some contacts on our website. Barb McPhee's the market manager. People could call her, email her, whatever it is, and just reach out and say, here's what I need and here's how I need it. And if they can come pick up, great. If they can't, then we'll get food to them. So there's no restrictions. Anyone who feels they need some support right now can have support.
And are there ways that those of us that can contribute or help, how can we help?
I guess always a very clear way is money. We've set up emergency food funds. So if anyone has any, I know it's tough for a lot of folks, but if anyone has any kind of discretionary money, every little bit helps. I think we've doubled our market budget, so it's about $1,500 a week that we're spending there. So we've been lucky enough to get some grants and other opportunities, but that money goes pretty fast. And I guess the other is, if just reach out, maybe there's volunteer opportunities. Barb always needs some drivers, just stuff like that. But really, those are the key things: some volunteer supports and funds.
Well, thanks, Brendan, for talking with us today. It really helps to share these stories and show what a caring community we have.
We really do. And the more, I knew it before, but this has really come writ large lately, to see all the amazing collaborations and connections and people all just working on a common goal. So thanks, Jan. And I know you've been talking to a lot of community leaders and spreading the word. So as always, I appreciate the work you do and have done for such a long time in our community.